What we see emerging from Carnegie Mellon University with the help of the palace and the Kremlin was a Neva Corporation pornographic construct that latched on to me as a liberal child and inputted um, adult um, soundtrack while I was comatose, so that later they could extrude it as um, feedback loop. And it was set up by some of Trump's friends, James Child, in a construct of um, resistance to evil. He came on to me with things about nuclear war being moral, while selling the idea that pacifism is immoral. It's immoral not to resist evil. So when Carbon Hell and their Neva pornographers went TV with What's Up Doc, what they were doing was implanting and neurotransmitting a deeply sophisticated concept of resistance to evil, of non resistance to evil. Meanwhile, they refused to acknowledge that their victim was in a coma trance, unable to process the information, unable to escape bondage. And what was being said went immediately into dormancy. And they claimed I didn't resist what was being played as um, activity from Climax One, who wouldn't let me in. I didn't want to go in. I just sat all night in the waiting room outside in trauma. When in reality, I went to the principal and tried to get the tape recorders that had been stolen back to the office that I had reported threats to kill me to, and they disappeared for a month and they didn't look for me to report my absence. And the police station where I helped to retrieve something that had been stolen from a woman and testified to the police who was responsible. As I was being dragged along and left outside to sit in a trance of fear. Now, it's an extrapolation to go from a trance of fear as a hostage to a trance of fear from a neurocoma through successive terrible beatings. Scientifically, they were escalating. And they want to make it sound like I didn't cooperate with the authorities when the authorities were actually responsible in making sure that the cooperation I engaged in was ineffective. That's the reality. They play act that Marinetti is the good guy and the marionettes are somnambulant puppets after brutally battering a child into a trance and neurocoma. That's the reality of what so-called natural language systems and Mark Nordenberg's nature of reality. And the Licky Chops Quorum at Seattle, UW Dialectical. That's the reality. They lifelong slave labor. And they're giving me a thumbs up because after 50, 60 years of it, they're tossing around the idea maybe Queerball has a point. Oh, oh, oh.